So I think I was wrong regarding dominance. I think we're going to go much higher. I've been saying for a while, I believe we're not going to go higher than 56, 57%. I think it's going to be hard work. And I might be wrong. But let's look at two obvious things. The dominance of Bitcoin and the dominance of Bitcoin without stable currencies. If you're going to look at without stable currencies now, we're technically around that 58, 60%. Why? The reason why I've always been hell-bent saying that is because stable currencies have grown a lot in the past couple of years. When we think back, bear with me, to old data and information, Tether, when I first joined crypto, wasn't a thing, right? Mad. USDC also wasn't around. You didn't have MakerDAO, all these kind of situations where they have added and diluted the pot because they are in the top 10, top 20. Get the idea, right? So when we go back to dominance, I've been often referring to Ben Cowen, analysing the market, thinking it's going to go much higher. And I've kind of been like saying, you're a little bit wrong here. But technically, he is also right because of the way the market is. As I say, remove the stable currencies, it makes it a very interesting picture. But I do think we are going to go a little bit higher because of the ETF, right? Now, this video, I'm going to explain what I think could happen in terms of the previous cycles, but kind of what you should already be doing, right? Let me explain. Dominance. I know, some people can't get their head around it. Sorry. Higher it goes, it means the more dominant Bitcoin is versus altcoins. It is the king of the market, king of the hill, right? When you then start to see it turn around, you're going to see altcoins do the opposite. Now, what you need to ignore is this panel here. Anything with USDT on it, you need to kind of think, well, what's actually happening? You need to look at the BTC pairs of your assets, right? Because I've said this on multiple videos, you'll know this. The price of an asset is the Satoshi value, right? So let's just say Polkadot, random example, because I know it's down here. Polkadot is that much in value. If you convert that, it would equal $7.20, right? Makes sense? So the higher this goes, it would mean the more the price of it is. But obviously, if Bitcoin just shoots to $200,000 overnight, which it probably won't, the USD price of DOT will go higher, but this will probably go lower. Make sense? Cool. Now, let's go back in time. History lesson. Previous cycles. Now, before the ICOs, before the market went turbo, Bitcoin was the dominant force. Then, a little person, quite skinny actually, he's actually quite tall and skinny, Vitalik Buterin, created an asset called Ethereum. And Ethereum wasn't really that spectacular. It got hacked once. You probably noticed that. Ethereum classic. But they then created ERC20 tokens. That then opened up the whole market. It was mental, right? Leading to dominance absolutely melting all the way down to like levels of like 35%. It was crazy at the time. And then the new cycle came about and the dominance rose quite a lot in significant periods, back up to 71%, basically because a lot of ICOs liquidated themselves and Ethereum wasn't really trusted because it went from $1,400 down to $82. Quite a savage drop, let's be honest. We then did a bit of an alt season. It's quite good, actually. That was when Chainlink went crazy, by the way, if you remember. And then it melted right the way back up. Now, I think we're going to see a situation where we're going to go much higher and then we're going to nosedive. This is all theoretical, all speculation, not financial advice. Big warning. If the correct announcement is correct and the SEC have approved a certain ETF, or many of them, we're going to probably see a lot of money go into Bitcoin, leading to this going much higher. Cash flow into it. Now, when I talk about correct information, we need to talk about the obvious, what happened last night. If you're in the future, you probably know this. ETF decision unlikely to be delayed because of the hack. That's speculative. What actually did happen, there was a little bit of an upsy period, right? It happens. So with regard to that, when it is fully done properly, you're going to see a lot of money go into it, as I say, right? That money will probably all nosedive into Bitcoin first. A lot of leverage longs, a lot of people buying Bitcoin, a lot of people sitting on the fence, especially in big money circles, especially in other markets, might be thinking, well, why not? What have I got to lose? BlackRock, Fidelity, whoever have all put their hand in the ring and have got an ETF, might lead to more people buying Bitcoin. That will then increase dominance. Dominance is, in my opinion, high, right? Do what you want with that information versus what it has been, but it could go higher. So there might be some short-term pain. You may well notice that some altcoins will go with it. Ethereum might well be a certain narrative that people might go, well, Bitcoin ETF, Ethereum ETF. You may well notice other coins fall into that category in the future too, so be mindful. When we talk about the stable currency side of it, in terms of when you remove the stables, this looks very interesting. And when we look at certain levels, it kind of does map out. It's just a different percentage level. This kind of area here looks pretty inviting, in my opinion. But what if we go up and then savagely back down? This is a point. If we are going to see continued dominance and altcoins get slaughtered into this point, they will, at some point, be a rotation. Always is, always has been. Because the easiest way, and you can feel free to write this down, to grow Bitcoin is via the altcoins, if you know what you're doing. Why? When you are up here, at these levels, your Satoshi value of an altcoin investment is at its fucking lowest. Pretty much. For the most part. Right? Individual assets will do different things. If then money rotates from the high caps, medium caps, low caps, micro caps, through the entire market and the herd come back, it's up-only season, right? And what happens with dominance when it's up-only season? It melts. Like so. What if we are going all the way up here for us to just go right back down to the 30% levels? Possibly. Why is this important? More and more altcoins are out now. More and more altcoins have a lot more developments than what they had back in 2020, 2021. The market, to me, is better. Kind of ish. There's a few little things that I'm not quite happy about, but you get the idea. I live in England, it's crap, right? Just saying. FCA, arseholes. But when we talk about the potential move to the downside, what if this is the level? What if we are going to have a glorious alt season because money is going on? Now, this is, I'm going to say it, a little bit of manipulation, because what's going to happen here is simple. Bitcoin holders are going to use a percentage, like myself, probably like Ben as well, percentage of their Bitcoin to buy into altcoins when they are at their most vulnerable. Maybe they won't have as much liquidity. Maybe they'll go much higher. And when you start looking at some of these, and I know I've only got a couple here what I'm keeping an eye on, when you look at them and you think, ooh, they've gone down a lot. It doesn't take much for you to grow your Bitcoin Satoshi range when it goes higher. Now, this doesn't have to break all-time highs to make money here, right? Polkadot, if you're buying today, and let's just say it goes to, say, 5,000 Satoshis, that's a 3 and a bit X, right? If you've got some Bitcoin, you can 3X it, you're going to do it, right? And you're going to sell back into Bitcoin, have more Satoshis, more Bitcoin. That is how the market will move, because that's what history tells us, right? People will look at that dominance and go, I've got a lot of Bitcoin, them altcoins look like shit, we're going to buy into that, we're going to see what's going to happen. It's all about percentage risk, right? So when we look at dominance and me saying, well, I'm wrong here, kind of yes, kind of no. I have been saying for a lot of time in the last 6 months, be positioned in altcoins because you don't know what's going to happen. This is the thing. Dominance can go higher. Yes, you're going to get a little bit of pain, but history repeats, right? If it goes to a certain point and that narrative of the ETF is a really strong one, it will kind of give you that reward eventually. Look at the others.d. We went really low, and if this goes really high, you know what to do. When it goes much higher, you take profit because the entire market's changed, right? The vulnerability of altcoins is no longer there because they're growing and growing and growing. However, when liquidity is then taken and it's put back into Bitcoin, they're going to crash again. That is how most people in crypto are making Bitcoin. Most people are holding Bitcoin, like myself. They are waiting to move it. I was at 1.60% Bitcoin not too long ago, and I've moved a lot of it into altcoins. It's fine, right? It's a lot lower now, but ultimately, when I look at my portfolio, I think I'm like 20% up on my BTC pair on year to date, which isn't bad, but I know in the future it's going to be much, much higher versus USD. So as much as Ben gets a lot of flack for talking about this, and it kind of, to a lot of altcoin holders, it hurts. But when you look at the actual bigger picture here, what you should be doing is following it, right? Regardless of when you bought, yeah, short-term pain, I don't mind that. The thing that people forgot with me was, it was very, very simple. I was buying with a lot of USD. I wasn't really that worried about Bitcoin. I already held Bitcoin ready to use. And I've still got that Bitcoin ready to use. I have been using it in other areas, but nothing crazy yet. And as I say, we may well see a bit of short-term pain. So I may well be wrong. I might be right. We might never go to 60%, but I do feel if big money is going to come into this market, this looks more likely, okay? But I hope I've given you guys a blueprint of what's going to happen. The market, in terms of manipulation, will be pretty much there to see when altcoins pump like hell because money has rotated into it. It will get people caught off guard. It will go higher and higher and higher. New people come in, they'll get wrecked. It's the same thing. It happens all the time. But you've just got to play the game. You've got to understand, why is it so high? Why are the altcoin Satoshis so low? Maybe that's an opportunity to use my Bitcoin to buy those lows. When it rotates back into Bitcoin, you should probably do the same thing, and you should have a bigger bag of Bitcoin to hold for the next cycle, and you compound higher. I talk about this a lot on my Patreon. Feel free to check it out. It's quite straightforward. Anyways, if you like this video, give it a like. I know it's not the most flashy video in the world because it's dominance, but hey, I appreciate your support.